Imagine a paradise that looks nothing like the Western paintings you've seen, a heaven with no pearly gates, no winged angels, and no golden streets. Instead, picture endless green fields, clear rivers, and a place where souls are free to explore, unbound by the limitations of the physical world. This is the vision of heaven described in the Ethiopian Bible, one of the most unique and ancient Christian texts in the world. But why does it differ so much from the traditional Western concept of heaven? Could it be that our understanding of paradise is too narrow? Could it be that heaven is more than we ever imagined? Today, we embark on a journey to explore the origins of the Ethiopian vision of heaven, why the description differs from Western Christianity, what this means for our understanding of eternity. By the end of this journey, you may never see heaven the same way again. To understand why the Ethiopian view of heaven is so unique, we must first understand Ethiopia's unique relationship with Christianity. Unlike most of Africa, Ethiopia was never fully colonized. This allowed its Christian faith to develop independently for thousands of years, untouched by Western influences. Ethiopia officially became a Christian nation in the 4th century AD, making it one of the oldest Christian civilizations in the world. But its roots go even deeper. According to Ethiopian tradition, the connection between Ethiopia and the Bible began with King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. The Ethiopian epic Kebra Nagast tells us that from their union, a new royal bloodline was established, one that linked Ethiopia directly to ancient Israel. This connection explains why Ethiopian Christianity has preserved many ancient Jewish traditions, including dietary laws and circumcision. Because of its isolation, Ethiopia never conformed to the Roman Catholic or Eastern Orthodox traditions. Instead, it developed its own version of the Bible, written in the ancient Gai language. This Bible contains 81 books, far more than the 66 books in the Protestant Bible or the 73 books in the Catholic Bible. And within these texts, heaven is described in a way unlike anything found in Western theology. One of the biggest differences between the Ethiopian and Western visions of heaven is its connection to nature. In the Western tradition, heaven is often depicted as a kingdom in the clouds, a place of golden streets, towering mansions, and a distant throne where God reigns. But in the Ethiopian Bible, heaven is described as a vast, open land, full of green fields, flowing rivers, and vibrant life. It is a place deeply connected to creation itself. Why such a difference? Because Ethiopia's unique geography and culture have shaped how its people understand paradise. Ethiopia's highlands, rivers, and breathtaking landscapes have long been seen as sacred reflections of heaven. Instead of viewing heaven as a separate, distant realm, Ethiopians see it as an extension of the natural beauty they already know. This concept challenges the Western idea of separation between the spiritual and the physical world. Could it be that heaven is not about escaping the earth, but about restoring it? Another striking difference in the Ethiopian Bible is its description of angels. In Western art, angels are often depicted as humanoid figures with white wings and glowing halos. But in the Ethiopian Bible, angels are described as pure spiritual beings, without fixed forms, without wings, and without human-like appearances. They are more like energies, forces of divine will, rather than physical beings. Why this difference? Because Ethiopian Christianity emphasizes that the spiritual world is beyond human perception. It does not limit heaven to physical descriptions like mansions, crowns, and golden streets. Instead, it describes a realm of divine presence, where form and matter become irrelevant. This raises an important question. Are Western ideas of angels, thrones, and physical rewards in heaven too literal? Is heaven more spiritual than we realize? One of the most profound differences in the Ethiopian vision of heaven is how it describes God. In Western theology, God is often depicted as sitting on a distant throne, ruling from above. But in the Ethiopian Bible, God's presence is close, intimate, and personal. He does not rule from afar. He walks among his people, dwelling with them in harmony. This concept aligns closely with Revelation chapter 21:3. Look, God's dwelling place is now among the people, and he will dwell with them. They will be his people, and God himself will be with them and be their God. Instead of emphasizing hierarchy and distance, the Ethiopian Bible emphasizes unity and closeness with God. Could this mean that heaven is not about us going to God, but about God coming to dwell with us? What does all of this mean for our understanding of heaven? Could it be that paradise is not a far-off kingdom, but a restored creation? Could it be that angels are beyond our human understanding? Could it be that God's presence is far closer than we think? These questions challenge everything we assume about the afterlife, but they also expand our vision of what awaits us beyond this world. In the next part of our journey, we will explore one of the most fascinating aspects of the Ethiopian Bible, the belief in 7 heavens. Unlike the simple concept of one single paradise, the Ethiopian Bible describes multiple realms of heaven, each with its own meaning and purpose. The first heaven, a place of transition, where souls begin their journey. The second heaven, a realm of purification, not punishment, but transformation. The third heaven, the place of cosmic knowledge, where the secrets of creation are revealed. The fourth heaven, a realm of pure light, where darkness does not exist. The fifth heaven, the place of ultimate harmony, where souls align with the Creator's will. The sixth heaven, the realm of divine sound, the music of the universe itself. The seventh heaven, the highest state of existence, where human and divine become one. Could it be that heaven is not a single place, but a journey of transformation? Could it be that our understanding of eternity is far too limited? In the next section, we will dive deeper into these 7 heavens, and discover a view of eternity unlike anything we've ever imagined. In Western Christianity, heaven is often described as a single place, the final destination of the saved, where believers live forever in God's presence. But in the Ethiopian Bible, heaven is not a fixed location. It is a journey, a process of transformation. Instead of one heaven, there are 7 realms, each representing a different stage of spiritual awareness and divine connection. What if heaven is not just where we go, but who we become? What if the afterlife is not a static existence, but an ongoing journey into deeper knowledge of God? Let's explore these 7 heavens, and uncover a vision of eternity unlike anything we've known. The first heaven is called Sakai, a realm of transition, where souls begin their journey after death. It is described as a place of lush gardens and clear rivers, a realm where souls feel peace but have not yet reached perfection, a space where the spirit separates from the body and begins to understand its new existence. Interestingly, this description mirrors the geography of Ethiopia itself: highlands, rivers, and endless green fields. Could it be that Ethiopians saw their land as a reflection of heaven? Could it be that paradise is more familiar than we think? This heaven serves not as the final reward, but as the beginning of a great journey. The second heaven is called Kiyama, a place where souls experience spiritual refinement. But unlike purgatory in Catholic tradition, this is not a place of suffering or punishment. Instead, it is described as a realm of gentle light and fresh air, a place where souls gain self-awareness and are freed from earthly attachments. A state of spiritual clarity, not torment. This challenges Western ideas of purification. Is purification about pain, or about understanding? Is judgment about punishment, or about growth? The Ethiopian Bible presents a God who transforms, rather than condemns. Could it be that heaven is a process, not just a place? The third heaven is called Ma'at, the repository of divine knowledge. According to the Ethiopian Book of Enoch, this is where the secrets of creation are stored. Souls gain understanding of past and future events. The wisdom of God is revealed in its fullness. This is similar to the Western concept of the Book of Life, but with an important difference. In Western Christianity, the Book of Life records human actions. In Ethiopian Christianity, heaven is where knowledge is freely given. Could it be that heaven is not about judgment, but about revelation? Could it be that God's plan is for us to grow in wisdom, even in eternity? The fourth heaven is called Baran, the realm of spiritual illumination. But this is not a place of physical light, it is a state of perfect understanding. Gay texts describe this realm as having no darkness, not in the sense of night, but in the sense of confusion. No hidden truth, everything is revealed. No separation from God's wisdom. This raises a fascinating question. In Western theology, heaven is often described as the absence of sin. In Ethiopian theology, heaven is the presence of full knowledge. Could it be that the greatest joy of eternity is understanding God in ways we never could on earth? The fifth heaven is called Mias, the place where souls achieve perfect alignment with God's will. But here's what makes it different from Western theology. In most Christian traditions, there is a clear separation between Creator and creation. In Ethiopian Christianity, heaven is about union, not division. There is no worshipper versus worshipped, servant versus master, human versus divine. Instead, there is oneness, a perfect spiritual relationship with God. This is not the loss of identity, but the fulfillment of it. Could it be that heaven is not about bowing before a throne, but about being fully immersed in God's presence? The sixth heaven is called Zelsis, the realm of divine sound. But this is not singing. It is the primordial vibration of the universe, the sound of existence itself. Gay texts describe a harmony that sustains creation, a divine melody that fills every soul, a frequency that connects all things. Modern scholars have compared this concept to string theory in quantum physics, the idea that the universe is built on vibrations and energy. Could it be that heaven is not silent, but filled with the music of existence itself? Could it be that worship is not just singing, but becoming part of the divine harmony? The seventh heaven is called Ara, the final and most sacred realm. But here's where it completely differs from the Western idea of heaven. In the West, heaven is often described as a place of thrones, palaces, and crowns. In Ethiopian Christianity, the highest heaven has none of these. Instead, it is described as a state of pure being, a place where human and divine are no longer separate, a return to the original source of all existence. This concept is similar to the idea of nirvana in Buddhism, the end of separation and suffering. The idea of divine union in Christian mysticism, becoming one with God. It is not about sitting in a kingdom. It is about becoming part of divine reality itself. Could it be that heaven is not about rewards, but about transformation? Could it be that eternity is not about possession, but about becoming? The seven heavens of Ethiopia reveal a radically different view of the afterlife. Instead of a single paradise, there are multiple stages of growth. Instead of golden streets, there is divine wisdom. Instead of a distant God, there is a journey toward unity with Him. This challenges everything we assume about eternity. Could it be that heaven is not just a place we enter, but a process we continue? Could it be that God's greatest gift is not wealth, but knowledge? In the next part of our journey, we will explore how Ethiopia's history, culture, and geography have shaped this profound vision of eternity. Because heaven is not just about where we go, it is about who we are becoming. Heaven is not just a place, it is a reflection of how we understand God, life, and eternity. And nowhere is this clearer than in Ethiopia. Unlike many Christian nations, Ethiopia's faith developed in complete independence from the West. Its geography, history, and culture shaped a unique vision of heaven, one that is radically different from Western traditions. Could it be that our ideas about heaven are deeply influenced by the cultures we live in? Could it be that heaven is not just one thing, but many things, seen through different lenses? Let's explore how Ethiopia's land, history, and traditions shaped its extraordinary understanding of paradise. To understand Ethiopia's concept of heaven, you must first understand its land. Ethiopia is not a country of flat deserts, it is a nation of towering mountains, deep valleys, and lush landscapes. The Ethiopian highlands are so elevated that they seem to touch the sky. The land is filled with rivers, fertile plains, and breathtaking natural beauty. The air is thin and crisp, making the boundary between earth and heaven feel almost invisible. For centuries, Ethiopians have seen their homeland as a reflection of paradise. In their faith, heaven is not a distant, golden kingdom in the clouds, it is a perfected version of the world they already know. Could it be that our view of heaven is shaped by the landscapes we live in? Could it be that paradise is not far away, but all around us, waiting to be restored? Ethiopian Christianity is deeply rooted in the Old Testament. According to Ethiopian tradition, the nation's link to biblical history began with the Queen of Sheba. The Ethiopian epic Kebra Nagast tells the story of the Queen of Sheba's journey to meet King Solomon, the birth of their son, Menelik I, who became Ethiopia's first king. A direct connection between Ethiopian royalty and the line of David. This connection explains why Ethiopian Christianity preserved many Jewish traditions that were later abandoned by Western Christianity. They follow Old Testament dietary laws. They practice male circumcision. They celebrate many Jewish holidays. Ethiopia saw itself as a second Israel, a nation chosen by God, not as an outsider to biblical history, but as part of it. This also explains why Ethiopian Christianity has its own Bible, with 81 books, including texts like the Book of Enoch that were removed from Western versions. Could it be that some of our Western ideas of Christianity have lost elements that Ethiopia has preserved? Could it be that Ethiopia's view of heaven is closer to what early Christians believed? One of the biggest reasons Ethiopian Christianity has a different vision of heaven is that its Bible is completely unique. Unlike the Western canon, the Ethiopian Bible contains the Book of Enoch, a detailed description of heaven, angels, and the spiritual world. The Book of Jubilees, a text that expands on the creation story and the role of angels. Additional psalms, prophecies, and historical texts that were removed from later versions of the Bible. The Ethiopian Bible's descriptions of heaven emphasize transformation over reward. Heaven is a journey, not just a place. Spiritual understanding over material wealth, no streets of gold, but wisdom and divine knowledge. Union with God over hierarchy instead of a distant throne. Heaven is a place of closeness with God. Western Christianity tends to describe heaven in earthly terms, mansions, crowns, cities of gold. But Ethiopian Christianity focuses on spiritual progress, knowledge, and divine connection. Could it be that we have focused too much on material descriptions of heaven? Could it be that heaven is less about wealth and more about wisdom? Another striking difference in Ethiopian Christianity is how angels are portrayed. In the West, angels are almost always shown as winged beings in white robes. But in Ethiopian theology, angels are not physical figures, they are pure spiritual presences. They are described as light, energy, and divine will. Guides, not guardians. Messengers, not warriors. This view of angels comes from the Book of Enoch, which is included in the Ethiopian Bible. In it, angels are described as beings who move between heaven and earth freely, without limitation. Spiritual forces, rather than physical creatures. Messengers who reveal the mysteries of God, rather than just protectors. Could it be that we have overly humanized angels? Could it be that the spiritual world is beyond what our minds can imagine? One of the most radical aspects of Ethiopia's view of heaven is that there are no gates, there are no walls, there are no divisions between people. Instead, souls exist in a network of divine connection where they continue to grow in wisdom and love, are not confined by physical space, do not experience separation from God. This challenges the Western idea of heaven as a city with borders. In the West, heaven is often described as a reward for the righteous, separated from the lost. In Ethiopia, heaven is seen as a place of continual spiritual expansion. Could it be that heaven is not a place of restriction, but of limitless connection? Could it be that our ideas of heaven have been shaped more by human kingdoms than by divine reality? Ethiopia's vision of heaven challenges and expands our understanding of eternity. It asks us to consider, is heaven just a reward, or is it a process of becoming? Is eternity about golden mansions, or about wisdom and transformation? Is God distant and ruling from a throne, or is he walking among us? These are not just theological questions. They are questions that shape how we live today. Because if heaven is about wisdom, transformation, and divine closeness, then our faith must reflect that now. Instead of waiting for heaven, we must seek God's wisdom now. Instead of longing for material rewards, we must focus on spiritual growth. Instead of seeing God as distant, we must walk with him every day. Could it be that heaven is not just something we reach, but something we begin living now? In the final part of our journey, we will explore what Ethiopia's vision of heaven teaches us about God's purpose for humanity. How this perspective can transform our faith and deepen our relationship with God. What the Ethiopian Bible reveals about the ultimate destiny of creation. Because heaven is not just about where we go when we die. It is about who we are becoming today. We have explored how Ethiopia's geography, history, and unique Bible have shaped its vision of heaven. Now, we must ask the biggest question of all. What does this vision of heaven teach us about God's ultimate plan for humanity? Is heaven a final reward, or is it a journey of transformation? Is eternity about leaving the earth, or is it about renewing creation? Is God a distant king, or is he a loving father who walks among his people? What if heaven is not just about what happens after we die, but about how we live right now? Let's dive into what Ethiopia's vision of heaven reveals about God's purpose for all creation. Many Christians think of heaven as the end goal. We live, we die, we go to heaven. But in the Ethiopian Bible, heaven is not a final destination, it is a new beginning. This aligns with what Revelation chapter 21, 1-3 says. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, and I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, Look! God's dwelling place is now among the people, and he will dwell with them. God's ultimate plan is not to take us away from earth. His plan is to renew all creation. Heaven is not about escaping this world, it is about restoring it. Heaven is not about abandoning our bodies, it is about transforming them. Heaven is not about leaving behind what is broken, it is about making all things new. Could it be that eternity is not about fleeing from earth, but about bringing heaven to earth? Many people think of heaven as a prize for good behavior. If we obey God, we get mansions. If we live righteously, we get golden streets. But in the Ethiopian Bible, heaven is not about material rewards. It is about spiritual transformation. The seven heavens reveal that heaven is a process, a journey into deeper wisdom and divine connection. This aligns with what Paul says in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, 52-53. The dead will be raised imperishable, and we will be changed. For the perishable must clothe itself with the imperishable, and the mortal with immortality. Heaven is not about getting things. It is about becoming something new. Could it be that the greatest gift of eternity is not what we receive, but what we become? Western Christianity often emphasizes separation between heaven and earth, God and humanity, the physical and the spiritual. But Ethiopian Christianity emphasizes union. God does not rule from a throne, he walks among his people. Heaven is not a faraway kingdom, it is woven into creation. Angels are not distant beings, they are divine presences moving freely between realms. This aligns with what Jesus prayed in John chapter 17, 21. Father, I pray that they may all be one, just as you are in me and I am in you. God's plan is not about dividing the universe into physical and spiritual realms. It is about bringing all things together under him. Could it be that heaven is not about distance from God, but total unity with him? Many people imagine heaven as a place where nothing changes. A kingdom where we simply exist forever. A paradise where everything remains the same. But in the Ethiopian Bible, heaven is dynamic. It is not a static place, it is a journey of eternal learning. It is not a frozen paradise, it is a state of continuous discovery. This aligns with Isaiah chapter 9:7. Of the increase of his government and peace, there will be no end. Even in heaven, God's kingdom is still expanding. Even in eternity, we will continue to grow, understand, and experience new revelations of God. Could it be that heaven is not a final chapter, but an endless adventure? In the Western Church, heaven is often seen as something far away. Something we will experience only after death. A reality completely separate from our world. But in Ethiopian Christianity, heaven is already among us. Jesus said in Luke chapter 17:20-21, "The kingdom of God is not something that can be observed, nor will people say, 'Here it is,' or 'There it is,' because the kingdom of God is in your midst." The spiritual world is not far away, it is right here. We do not need to wait for heaven, we need to open our eyes to it. Could it be that heaven is already breaking into our world, we just haven't recognized it yet? If Ethiopia's vision of heaven is true, then it changes everything about how we live today. We should seek transformation now. If heaven is about growing in wisdom, we should start that process today. If heaven is about union with God, we should draw near to Him now. If heaven is about renewing creation, we should care for the world today. We should see God as near, not far. If God will walk among us in eternity, why do we live as if He is distant now? If heaven is about oneness with God, why do we act as if He is a faraway ruler? If eternity is about knowing Him more deeply, why do we wait until death to seek Him? We should bring heaven to earth. If heaven is about justice, we should fight for justice today. If heaven is about unity, we should overcome division now. If heaven is about love, we should live with radical love today. Jesus told us to pray, "Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven." Matthew chapter 6:10. That means heaven is not just a future hope. It is a present mission. Everything we've learned challenges how we see eternity. Could it be that heaven is not a reward, but a process of becoming? Eternity is not about sitting in a kingdom, but growing in divine wisdom. God is not waiting for us in a distant place, He is already near. This is what Ethiopia's vision of heaven teaches us. Heaven is not about escaping earth, it is about renewing it. Heaven is not about sitting still, it is about continual transformation. Heaven is not far away, it is already breaking into our world. If this is true, then eternity begins now. Are we living like it? Are we seeking God with all our hearts? Are we bringing heaven to earth today? Because in the end, heaven is not just about where we go. It is about who we are becoming. And that journey starts now.